Hi everyone, welcome back to our puppy raising series. My name is Kim Mays with Rockin' Dogs Positive Dog Training. I'm back here today with Miss Spirit, and we are going to be talking about the most important thing I think you do when you're raising a new puppy, and that is proper socialization. So we're going to talk a little bit about this today because there is a critical period that you have your puppy when you first bring them home, right at 8 weeks old, up until about 14 weeks old. That is the most crucial time to have your puppy not only just have experiences, but have positive experiences with many, many different types of things. And this social process is really going to help them develop through issues and develop their personality and their behaviors throughout their lifespan. So this is a crucial thing. What is a little bit difficult though is that our idea of what socialization truly isn't actually what it is. We are a little confused as pet owners sometimes as to how do I properly socialize my dog. And a lot of times we think that's just getting them amongst a lot of other dogs and people and meet and greets and things like that. So what I'm going to do to start this off is I am going to post a little chart that I recently saw from our friends at Abbey Canine Dog Training in Australia that did a wonderful chart of kind of what we perceive as socialization and what it truly is. So I'm going to post that now. All right, so let's just let this sink in for a moment. Many times we put so much emphasis on our meet and greets of new people, strange dogs, and we really lack in the departments of all the other things associated with socialization that are so important, such as sounds and flooring and all the different kinds of textures that they might have to touch, new buildings and environments, and all the novelties associated with those. And most importantly, teaching our dogs to focus around all of these new things. All right, so I'm sure some of you just got done looking at that chart thinking, I didn't socialize my dog with enough stuff, or I put my emphasis on maybe the wrong things or too many of the wrong things. Um, so I want to talk to you a little bit as a trainer as what we see as repercussions for socializing with just the people and the dogs and making them the focus of all the socialization, because that's what that first chart was, right? We feel like just meeting and greeting and going to the dog park and going out to cafes and greeting and having friendly social situations with all those things in those environments. That's what the social process is. And basically what happens is when we put all our focus only on those things, they become so important to the dog that as they age, they become more important than the owner. So if you look at the second chart, a lot of it was focus on the owner around these things. And that is a pivotal piece of information. As a trainer, what we typically see as the dogs get older is it can start with basic obedience commands, just like the selective hearing that you hear about, where they only listen in certain environments. With different kind of obedience skills like walking. Maybe you're walking down the street and now your dog is yanking and pulling to say hi to every single person and every single dog that they meet. And it can progress to much bigger problems like a reactivity to dogs on a walk. So maybe now your dog is lunging, barking, and really kind of acting out when they are on a walk, they see these other things and they see that those things were built up as the big value system in the beginning, not paying attention to the owner. That was secondary. So all these problems can develop. So you'll notice on that second chart that a lot of it was about the focus. Focusing on the handler. They need to be around all these things. They need to have good situations with dogs and people and different kinds of noises and smells and all these things. But they also have to learn the focus aspect around them and really look to their owner. So I always say I'm trying to make myself better than the squirrel when we're on a walk. What is going to make my puppy want to pay attention to me more than anything else, even their tough squirrel that they want to chase? What is going to make them really fixate on me and learn how to listen to me in that environment, in that social structure? So I'm going to show you a basic obedience skill that's real simple that you can do with your dog on this video. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of some of the social experiences that Spirit had in her first 6 weeks with us. So let's take a look at the watch me cue. So today I'm going to show you guys how to do a watch me cue. Now the watch me cue in our house I call the stop, drop, and roll cue, because really it's the one thing that you're going to use to call your dog to get their attention when they're distracted. And let's face it, everything else hinges on that. So if your dog's distracted by something, and you can't even get them to look at you, then you're not going to get that pretty sit or stay or come or anything else you want, because basically they think something else in the environment is better than you. So the watch me cue is really what initiates the focus. And it's very easy to start. You're just going to need a few things. I'm starting in a very quiet room, so there's no other sound distractions. I'm going to have a bunch of treats ready to go. So I usually have several. I'm using her kibble tonight, but I've got quite a few in my hand ready to go, so I can just kind of rapid fire reward her if I want to do this repetitively. And then the only other thing you might need is a clicker. If you want to use that, you're going to need some kind of secondary reinforcer. So you can simply say yes, or you can click a clicker if you've loaded that. Either one is fine. So what we're going to do is start very simply. Our very first practice, we want to get them used to the visual cue. Dogs really learn visually, so this is kind of an important step. And we're going to combine it with whatever verbal cue we want to use. So I say watch me, but if you want to say look or eyeballs or fall in or whatever you want, you can get creative with the wording. But the hand signal is pretty universal, and you're just going to point to your eye up here. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of her kibble, and I'm going to scoot back just a little bit in case you can't see her real well. And I'm just going to bring her right up to my eyes. Watch me. Yes. And right when she looks up, I'm going to say that yes or that, or click that clicker. So we're going to go, yes. Good job. Now she's offering some other behaviors that I've taught her. Which is fine in the beginning. She can offer any behavior she wants as long as she makes eye contact. What I'm going to be saying yes or clicking for is only for that eye contact. So we're going to try that again. I'm going to show it. Watch me. Yes. Good job. And it doesn't have to be long at all. It can be a half a second glance. All you've got to do is catch it while they're still looking. Watch me. Yes. Good job. Watch me? Yes, good job. So basically that's all you have to do for your very first practice of this signal, is just make sure that they're connecting the dots. Take the treat, watch me, yes, and reward. Now, after that first practice, what I want you to do is start hiding the treats, because I know your puppy will look at you every time you have a treat up by your eyeball. But what they have to learn how to do is look at you even when there's really hard distractions. So I'm just simply going to switch hands. So now the treats are down in my opposite hand, and the hand that I'm signaling with is empty. So we're going to try that again, and we'll go, Spirit, watch me. Yes, and I'm going to help her with a little kissy noise since she's following the food. Watch me. Yes, good job. And that was much better second time. Watch me. Yes. And you can absolutely use their name if you'd like to, especially if that will help them. So I can go, Spirit, watch me. Yes, good girl. Spirit, watch me. Yay, good girl. Now you can see that it's actually the motion that's helping draw her in the most. So she's really interested in the food because she hasn't eaten. It's dinner time and we're using her dinner. But watch me, when I'm helping her with the visual movement, that's a big trigger. So always be very apparent with your hand signals, and that's going to help your puppy a lot as you start adding different kinds of distractions to the environment. Now, obviously, you've got to make this a ton harder. So throughout the week, what you want to do is add all different kinds of distractions. Sounds, motions, different environments entirely. Just try and make it a little bit more difficult so your puppy starts understanding, hey, every time my owner says this new word, watch me, I get paid. And all I have to do is do it in all these different kinds of environments. So we want to make sure we have a really high consistency rate. So my next step is going to be to call it whether my puppy's, maybe eating, sleeping, playing, getting in trouble, and gradually increasing that difficulty level until she can watch me in all those different areas. Be creative around the house. So if you're in a situation where you're still in COVID and you can't get out of the house a whole lot, or maybe just the weather's horrible and you can't even get outside, then find things around the house that you can use to add distraction to your training. Because the more distractions you add with the watch me, the better your dog's going to be down the long haul of this. So I'm going to try and add a couple distractions with her, and because I'm adding a couple distractions in a very quick setting, I'm going to upgrade my value system. So I'm going to grab a little bit better treat instead of her kibble, and she seems interested. So I think it might be helpful. But again, I still want to be able to hide these treats. So what I'm going to do is grab her little dinosaur here. She loves this toy. And what I'm going to do is just squeak the toy, and then I'm going to call the watch me. So watch me. Yes, good job. Watch me. Yes. Yes, good girl. That was a little tough one there. Watch me. Yes, good girl. Alright, so that's pretty tough with that squeaky toy for her. So the next step would be actually showing it to her and calling that same watch me. Now, since this is going really fast and I would actually do this over several practice sessions, what I'm going to do is regress a little bit. I'm going to go back to having the treat in my hand for the first practice session, and I'm going to squeak that. And watch me. Yes, good girl. Very nice. Get a couple more cookies out. Very nice, Spirit. Let's try that again. Watch me. Yes. Now you see at the beginning she was looking at my hand, but she was looking for the food. She was looking over here, so I waited until she made direct eye contact. That's when she, yes, she's watching you now. That's when she actually got the food. So always when they're making eye contact with you. Spirit, watch me. Yay, good girl. Good job. Now, we can go on with all different kinds of sound distractions, but we can also add movement. So if I want to go to the next level and start throwing the toy, then I can do things like that as well. So now I've got, you know, the squeaky toy, and we're gonna go, watch me, watch me, yes, good girl. Very nice. Oh, we dropped the cookies. Watch me. Yes, good girl. Very difficult because I have a big chunk of treat in my hand, and she could see it completely. So she really had to make a decision. Do I look at that treat that she has in her hand, or do I look at her? So there is all kinds of ways that you can make this difficult. Really, you want to challenge your dog. So even if you're in the house, you want to start upgrading, and then of course take them to new environments when you're taking them out, and try this watch me there. So that is how you're going to start your watch me command. Have fun practicing, and we will see you on the rest of the video. Okay everyone, so now that you've had the opportunity to learn how to do the watch me cue, I'm going to show you some photos and some videos of Spirit in her first 6 weeks of life here. Some of the things that we did, the places that we took her, and even things around the house that we socialized her with. These are all places where you can teach your dog to focus with you. So I hope it'll give you some ideas, and enjoy watching. Listen to the birdies. I listen to the birdies. Come on, girls. Yeah, that's the girl. There you go, dear.